The galaxy's most feared academy floated silently in the void of space. Its walls were made of shining metal that seemed to swallow the light of distant stars, and its gates had only opened for the bravest, the smartest, and the strongest. Every year, cadets from all corners of the galaxy came here, dreaming of glory, yet most never survived their first trial. Legends said that 99% of cadets failed instantly, and the few who survived were considered almost superhuman. Today, a new group of hopefuls entered the academy. Among them, one figure drew attention. Small in size, human, fragile in appearance compared to the towering alien cadets. His name was Alex, and the murmurs followed him wherever he walked. "A human," whispered a tall green-skinned alien with 6 eyes. "No human has ever passed even the first test." Alex ignored them. He had heard the stories before, and he knew the odds were against him, but something inside him refused to fear failure. The first trial was called the Impossible Trial, and it lived up to its name. The candidates were led into a giant chamber, walls covered in glowing runes, and the floor a shifting maze of metal panels. A deep voice echoed through the hall. "Survive, solve, or fail instantly." The air was thick with tension. The aliens looked confident, flexing muscles, stretching multiple limbs, or using telepathy to scan the maze before them. Alex simply took a deep breath and observed. The other cadets rushed in, pushing, leaping, and activating complicated gadgets. Within seconds, alarms blared as one after another fell into traps or vanished through collapsing floors. Alex stepped forward cautiously, feeling the cold metal beneath his boots, noticing every detail. The flicker of lights, the faint hum beneath the walls, the tiny cracks in the panels. While others relied on speed, strength, or advanced technology, he relied on attention and thought. Slowly, he moved, testing each step, predicting what might happen next. The first real challenge appeared, a narrow corridor with walls that shifted unpredictably, closing suddenly with crushing force. Aliens dashed through, some frozen by fear, others crushed instantly. Alex waited. He watched the walls, memorized their rhythm, and moved only when he saw the perfect opening. He passed without a scratch. Observers gasped. Some of the alien cadets muttered, "Impossible. No human could survive that." The trial only grew harder. Next was a puzzle floor, glowing tiles that could either support weight or vanish the moment someone stepped on them. Aliens calculated trajectories, many falling into traps as they misjudged by even a fraction of a second. Alex stepped lightly, almost dancing between tiles, feeling the energy beneath his feet. He paused when uncertain and quickly jumped when he sensed the right moment. Slowly he advanced, unnoticed by the judges at first, but their whispers grew louder. "He is thinking differently," one judge murmured. "No human reacts like that." Time passed, and the maze seemed to change around him. The walls twisted, panels shifted, and holographic illusions appeared. Cadets screamed as fear and confusion overtook them. Alex felt the pressure, yet he smiled faintly. He realized the maze reacted to fear, to chaos. By staying calm, by thinking, he found paths that others could not even imagine. The Chamber of Illusions loomed next, filled with mirrors reflecting multiple versions of Alex, confusing the eyes and the mind. Many cadets ran blindly, striking walls, falling into pits, or attacking their own reflections in panic. Alex stopped, looked carefully at each reflection, and noticed small differences, a shadow here, a flicker there. By focusing on reality, not illusion, he walked through the mirrors as if they were nothing. Behind him, the judges exchanged stunned glances. The academy had never seen this. A human cadet moving with such patience, precision, and calmness was extraordinary. A sudden alarm echoed. The final segment of the first trial appeared, a giant sphere with spinning blades and traps that extended from the walls like metallic snakes. Most cadets froze. Some leapt recklessly, only to be shredded by the moving blades. Alex stood for a moment, taking in the patterns, the speed of the blades, and the gaps in the traps. He noticed that the machinery reacted to sound and pressure, which meant it could be bypassed quietly. Step by step, he moved with perfect timing, barely touching the floor, barely breathing. One by one, the traps missed him. The audience of cadets and alien spectators watched in awe. It seemed impossible. He moved like a shadow, human but not ordinary, human but almost extraordinary. Finally, he reached the other side. The deep voice echoed again. End of part 1. Survival. Uncertain. Alex stood, unharmed but not triumphant. His eyes scanned the chamber, and he smiled faintly. Something inside him knew the real challenge was yet to come. The aliens whispered behind their hands, stunned. The impossible had not ended with failure. For the first time, a human had passed the beginning, not through strength or speed, but through calmness, thought, and patience. And the academy, the judges, and every cadet present knew that everything they believed about humans was about to change. Yet Alex felt no pride. He felt curiosity, anticipation, and readiness. The impossible trial had begun, but it was not over. Something deeper awaited him, something designed to challenge the mind, the soul, and the limits of every cadet. As he prepared to move forward, the alarms faded, the walls settled, and a new silence filled the chamber. The galaxy watched. 99% had failed instantly. One human had survived. And the question lingered, what would he do next? The hall was silent after Alex crossed the first part of the impossible trial. The other cadets were either injured, exhausted, or staring in disbelief. No human had ever survived this long, and yet here he was, calm, focused, and untouched. The judges exchanged glances. One of them, a tall alien with glowing purple skin, muttered, "This is unprecedented." The other cadets whispered nervously among themselves. "He's just a human," said a blue-skinned cadet with 4 arms. "How can he be so precise?" Another alien shook its head. "I don't know. He shouldn't even be standing." Alex, however, paid no attention. He scanned the next section of the trial, a vast arena filled with puzzles, traps, and mechanical devices that seemed alive. The rules were simple but cruel. Solve, survive, or fail. The first puzzle in this arena was a series of floating platforms suspended over a pit of glowing acid. Most cadets ran, jumping from one platform to another as quickly as possible. The platforms moved unpredictably, and many fell instantly. Alex approached cautiously. He noticed that the platforms had slight vibrations just before moving. While the aliens rushed, relying on speed and strength, Alex relied on observation and timing. He took one step, then paused, then another, slowly crossing without falling. The audience murmured. "He is not just lucky," whispered a judge. "He thinks differently." The next obstacle was even stranger, a riddle carved into a giant floating cube. The riddle required logic, memory, and intuition. The aliens attacked it with brute force, trying to smash it, spin it, or manipulate it with energy beams. Most failed instantly. Alex, on the other hand, studied the cube. He turned it slowly, noticing patterns, shapes, and symbols. After a moment, he smiled faintly and pushed a single symbol. The cube clicked, rotated, and revealed a hidden path. The other cadets gasped. The judges leaned closer. "A human? Solving it like that? Unbelievable," one muttered. But Alex had no time to celebrate. The trial was designed to punish hesitation. From the ceiling, mechanical arms swung down, each tipped with deadly blades. Lasers cut through the air randomly. Most cadets panicked, running blindly. Alex stopped. He observed the rhythm of the swings, the timing of the lasers, and the gaps in the danger. Then, with careful steps and precise timing, he moved, almost dancing between death. Every move was calculated. Every pause measured. And he reached the other side unharmed. A murmur ran through the hall. The aliens were stunned. Alex's human mind did not react like theirs. He did not rush. He did not panic. He adapted. He survived. Then came the most unexpected challenge. A wall rose in front of him, glowing with shifting patterns, and the voice of the trial echoed, "The solution is not force, not speed, but understanding. Choose wisely." The other cadets attacked the wall. They used energy blasts, brute strength, and telekinesis. The wall did not move. Time passed. Some cadets gave up, exhausted and frustrated. Alex studied the wall carefully. He noticed that the patterns were not random. They formed sequences, like a heartbeat, like breathing. He realized the wall reacted to sound, rhythm, and intention. Instead of attacking it, he spoke softly, observing the changes in light. Slowly, he aligned his breathing with the wall's rhythm. A faint click sounded. A section of the wall slid open. Alex stepped through calmly. The hall fell silent. No one had expected a human to solve it this way. The judges were silent, exchanging concerned glances. "It cannot be. He is bending the rules with his mind," one whispered. But Alex felt nothing extraordinary. He had simply observed and adapted, used what humans had that others did not: patience, empathy, and quiet focus. The next section was a maze filled with illusions. Mirrors reflected false exits. Holograms mimicked traps. The aliens ran frantically, attacking shadows, falling into pits, or colliding with walls. Alex walked slowly, ignoring the reflections. He noticed slight inconsistencies, a shadow moving differently, a reflection delayed by a fraction of a second. He realized which path was real. Step by step, he moved through the illusions, barely touching the walls. He passed through safely, while most cadets were trapped or failing. The arena grew darker, more chaotic. The voice of the trial boomed, "Time is almost up. Make the impossible choice." At the center of the arena, a platform hovered above a pit of fire. Two levers stood in front of him. One lever seemed safe but would trigger a trap. The other seemed impossible to reach, guarded by spinning blades and lasers. Most cadets panicked and chose the first lever, failing instantly. Alex paused. He did not rush. He looked at the patterns of the blades, the timing of the lasers, and the position of the levers. He noticed the smallest gap, the tiniest opening, and realized he could reach the second lever if he timed perfectly. He moved, step by step, with perfect rhythm. The blades missed him by inches. The lasers swept past him. He leapt onto the platform, pulled the second lever, and the arena transformed. A path opened where there had been none. The audience gasped. The judges were speechless. Alex had done what no one expected. He had solved the challenge not with power or speed, but with observation, patience, and human ingenuity. The other cadets stared in disbelief. "He is different," muttered one. "No human should be able to do that," whispered another. Alex simply stepped forward, calm and composed. He did not celebrate. He only prepared for the next challenge, knowing the trial had many layers yet to come. The impossible trial had not ended, but the first part of the arena had been conquered by a human. And the question now hung in the air: how far could this human cadet go before the trial revealed its true dangers? The tension in the hall was electric. Aliens whispered nervously. Judges frowned. Every eye followed Alex as he moved toward the next section. The unexpected move had changed everything. One human had survived when none thought possible. And the galaxy would soon take notice. The arena had grown darker, colder, and stranger after Alex pulled the lever. The other cadets were shaken, some trembling, some hiding, many defeated. The judges whispered urgently among themselves. "He survives by thinking differently." "This is dangerous," said one, his voice tense. Alex did not notice their whispers. His focus was on the next part of the trial, the maze of the mind. The walls of the maze were high, black, and smooth, reflecting nothing but darkness. The air smelled faintly metallic, and a low hum vibrated through the floor. The voice of the trial echoed around him. "Enter the maze of the mind. Only those who can face themselves will survive." Many cadets hesitated. Fear gripped them. The maze was known for its illusions, traps that attacked the mind rather than the body. Legends told of cadets driven mad before even reaching the center. Alex stepped in cautiously. The first corridor seemed simple enough, a dark tunnel with a single light at the end. He walked slowly, listening. The hum grew louder. The walls began to shift subtly, changing shape as he moved. Shadows appeared, moving unnaturally, whispering faint voices. Some cadets panicked at the slightest sound, screaming, attacking shadows, or running blindly into walls. Alex paused. He focused on breathing, on steady steps. He ignored the whispers, the shifting shadows. Instead, he observed. He noticed that the shadows followed patterns. They were not random but reflected fear, hesitation, and doubt. He forced his mind to stay calm, refusing to react to fear. The maze seemed to respond. The whispers grew softer, the shadows slowed. One by one, illusions faded when Alex moved with certainty. Deeper into the maze, the floor became uneven, with gaps that appeared to drop into endless darkness. Holographic creatures crawled across the walls and ceiling, some reaching for him, some lunging like they could grab him. Most cadets screamed and ran. Many fell. Alex, however, studied each creature's movement, each pattern of light and shadow. He stepped carefully, timing his movements. When a hologram lunged, he sidestepped calmly. When a floor panel appeared unstable, he paused, calculating the safest moment to step. He realized something important. The maze tested not only physical skill but mental clarity. Panic made the illusions stronger. Calm made them weaker. The judges, observing from above, were astonished. A human controlling fear, it's impossible, one murmured. This cadet may change everything we know. Alex pressed on. The maze twisted more wildly, corridors turning back on themselves, doors opening to dead ends, and whispers becoming more personal. The maze seemed to know him, calling his name, showing fears, memories, doubts he did not wish to face. Other cadets screamed, seeing impossible visions of failure, of being trapped forever. Alex stopped, closed his eyes for a moment, and remembered his training. He told himself that the maze could only control him if he let it. He focused on simple truths, step by step, observe, breathe, and trust his mind. Slowly, he moved forward, ignoring the illusions that tried to trick him. He reached a chamber where multiple holographic versions of himself stood, each pointing in different directions. The voice of the trial boomed, "Which is the real path? Choose wisely, or perish in your mind." Many cadets ran toward a figure, attacking or following blindly. Alex studied the reflections. He noticed tiny differences, a flicker, a misalignment, a shadow inconsistent with the light. He identified the real path and walked toward it, ignoring the false copies. The illusions reacted, shifting, trying to confuse him further. He paused, waited, then walked steadily, his confidence breaking their control. Next, the maze sent visions of failure, of loved ones he would never see again, of moments of doubt, whispered fears of weakness. Most cadets cried, shouted, or froze in panic. Alex's human mind, however, absorbed the visions, acknowledged them, and continued. He knew fear was a tool of the maze, not a weapon against him. As he advanced, the corridors narrowed, walls closing in, lights flickering violently. A sudden vibration ran through the floor. A trap, unseen before, began to rise from beneath. Many cadets leapt, but the timing was wrong, and they were struck or pushed back. Alex moved differently. He watched the pattern, predicted the motion, and stepped over it with perfect timing. He reached the next room. In its center floated a massive crystal, glowing with swirling colors. The trial's voice echoed, "Only those who can master mind and fear may claim the crystal. Touch it and proceed. Fail, and be trapped forever." Alex approached. The crystal projected images of every cadet he had seen fail, distorted faces, cries of pain, the haunting 99% who never survived the trial. His mind remained steady. He did not flinch. He focused on the crystal's pattern, the rhythm of its glow, the spaces between the flashes. He reached out calmly, placing his hand on its surface. A pulse ran through the room, and the illusions vanished. The maze quieted. The path forward opened, a corridor leading to a distant light. Alex smiled faintly. He knew he had passed the maze of the mind, but the voice reminded him that this was only part of the impossible trial. The other cadets, if they were still alive, had been broken mentally, exhausted, or worse. He alone moved forward, not because he was stronger or faster, but because he had mastered fear, clarity, and observation. The judges looked down, shocked. This human, he survives not by force, not by skill, but by mind and calm, whispered one. He may change the future of this academy. Alex walked on, leaving shadows, illusions, and doubt behind him. The maze of the mind had tested every limit, yet he had emerged unbroken. As the light ahead grew brighter, he realized the next part of the trial would challenge him even more, testing not only mind and body, but the very essence of what it meant to be human. The impossible trial was far from over, yet one truth was clear to everyone watching. A human cadet had survived where 99% had failed instantly, and the galaxy would never forget this. After Alex emerged from the maze of the mind, the academy hall was filled with a strange tension. The alien cadets stared at him, disbelief etched on every face. Some trembled, unable to understand how a fragile human could survive where their strongest had failed. The judges whispered urgently among themselves. "This is unprecedented," said one, his voice tight. "No human should be able to pass this far. We may have underestimated them." The alien cadets exchanged nervous glances. A tall, muscular alien with 4 arms muttered, "He thinks differently. He's unpredictable. That is dangerous." Others nodded, fear and curiosity mixing in their eyes. Alex, however, ignored them all. His focus was on the next part of the trial. He knew that doubt from others did not matter. He had survived this far by observing, staying calm, and thinking in ways no alien had expected. The next chamber was massive, shaped like a dome with walls covered in glowing symbols. Suspended in the center was a platform, spinning slowly above a deep pit of swirling energy. The judge's voice echoed, deep and commanding. "The trial of trust and logic begins now. Every cadet must navigate the platform, solve the puzzle at its center, and survive the traps surrounding it. Fail, and you are lost." The alien cadets rushed forward, confident in their strength and instincts. Many leapt onto the platform, muscles and powers ready to dominate the challenge. But the platform shifted violently, moving in patterns that seemed impossible to predict. Traps emerged from the edges, and beams of energy scanned for any mistake. Within moments, cadets fell or were thrown off balance. Alex watched. He noticed patterns in the platform's movement, timing of the energy beams, and the subtle shifts in the symbols on the walls. Unlike the aliens, he did not rely on power. He relied on observation, timing, and calm decision-making. Step by step, he moved onto the platform, adjusting to its shifts, feeling its rhythm, predicting the beams before they struck. Slowly, methodically, he advanced, drawing the gaze of every judge and cadet. "He is controlling it," whispered one judge. "How?" Alex reached the puzzle at the center. It was a complex array of symbols, lights, and buttons. The alien cadets tried to force the solution, using energy beams or brute force. Many failed instantly, triggering alarms and traps. Alex studied it carefully, noticing the sequence of flashes and sounds. He realized that the puzzle reacted to attention and patience, not strength. He pressed a symbol, waited, then pressed another, step by step following a rhythm only he could sense. The array shifted, revealing the path forward. The judges leaned closer, eyes wide. "This human, he adapts, he observes, he is unlike any other cadet," one muttered. The other cadets looked on, fear growing in their eyes. Some whispered, "He cannot be stopped, maybe humans are more than we thought." Alex did not celebrate. He moved calmly toward the next section. The judges were concerned now. "We may have misjudged the humans," said one quietly. "If he reaches the final stage, the academy itself may be changed." The arena shifted again, walls rising, floors twisting. The cadets who had survived the first sections were exhausted, shaken mentally and physically. Alex remained composed. He walked through the corridors with careful observation. The traps were more unpredictable now. One moment, the floor seemed solid, the next, it disappeared into energy voids. Holographic creatures lunged at cadets from the walls. Most panicked and fell, some screaming as they vanished. Alex paused, studied each movement, and stepped precisely where it was safe. His calmness disoriented the traps, almost as if they did not know how to respond to his human mind. A holographic creature reached for him. Others would have fought or fled. Alex tilted his head, noted its timing, and stepped aside just in time. The creature passed harmlessly. The alien cadets watched in growing terror and fascination. How could a human move like this? How could one survive with such composure while others fell in seconds? The next challenge appeared, a series of shifting bridges suspended above a glowing pit. The bridges moved unpredictably, some disappearing and reappearing in seconds. The alien cadets hesitated, calculating jumps and risks. Many leapt recklessly and fell. Alex paused, observed, and studied the timing of each bridge, the subtle vibrations in the metal, and the faint hum of energy beneath. He moved with perfect rhythm, one step at a time, never rushing, never panicking. He crossed safely. The judges' murmurs grew louder. "We may have underestimated the human species," one said. "Their unpredictability, it may surpass any alien advantage." By now, every surviving cadet was exhausted, both mentally and physically. The arena itself seemed to recognize Alex as different. The walls glowed faintly as if acknowledging his presence. Alex did not notice. He focused only on the path ahead. The final section of this part of the trial was revealed, a massive gate with a riddle inscribed on its surface. Energy beams surrounded it, activating traps for any misstep. The alien cadets froze, unsure how to approach. Some panicked and tried brute force. Alex read the riddle carefully. Unlike others, he did not attack it or guess blindly. He thought step by step, applied simple logic, and listened to his intuition. Slowly, the gate responded. Symbols shifted, traps deactivated, and a path opened. Alex stepped through calmly. The judges were silent for a long moment. The surviving alien cadets stared in disbelief. "No human should have done that, yet he did it," muttered one. "He is extraordinary." Alex had proven once again that human ingenuity, observation, and calmness could surpass raw strength, speed, and alien powers. He was no longer just a cadet. He was a symbol of something new, something unpredictable, something that challenged the very beliefs of the Academy. As he moved forward, the aliens whispered anxiously among themselves, fear and awe mingling in their voices. The judges exchanged worried glances, realizing that this human cadet could change everything. The impossible trial was far from over, but Alex had survived yet another stage where 99% of others had failed. One truth was clear: the Academy, the cadets, and the galaxy itself would never underestimate humans again. The question now lingered in every mind: what would Alex do next, and how far could a human truly go? The arena had grown quieter after Alex passed the trial of trust and logic. The remaining alien cadets were exhausted, shaken, and fearful. Whispers filled the corridors: "He has done the impossible, again." The judges, observing from above, leaned closer. "This human may change everything we know about the Academy," one murmured. Alex, however, paid no attention to the murmurs. His focus was on the next section, the Chamber of Decision. The chamber was enormous, a circular room with a glowing floor divided into two paths. In the center, a pedestal held a glowing orb pulsating with energy. Above it, the trial's voice echoed, "The critical choice begins now. Choose one path, but beware. One leads to survival, the other to instant failure. Only the mind and heart can guide you." The alien cadets hesitated. Many panicked, stepping toward the nearest path without thought. Some shouted, trying to rush forward. The orb pulsed faster as if reacting to fear and indecision. Alex studied the chamber carefully. The floor under each path had faint energy pulses. The left path seemed stable, but the trial's voice warned, "Not all that appears safe is true." The right path seemed impossible, full of traps and shifting energy, yet it pulsed differently, almost as if it welcomed him. Most cadets chose the left path blindly. Alarms immediately sounded. Panels opened beneath them, and several were thrown into pits of glowing energy. Panic and chaos erupted. Alex's mind worked differently. He noticed subtle patterns in the pulsing energy. He observed how the orb responded to movement, hesitation, and fear. His human intuition told him that the obvious path was a trap. Calmly, he stepped toward the right path. The floor shifted, blades and lasers activating in rhythm. Most cadets would have panicked, but Alex moved with perfect timing. Step by step, he advanced, using observation and patience. Every motion was measured. Every breath controlled. He avoided traps that would have destroyed the strongest alien cadets. The orb above pulsed faster as he approached, its energy reacting to his presence. A voice whispered inside his mind, challenging him, showing visions of failure, of the impossible, of falling into the pit below. Alex's heart raced, but he stayed calm. He remembered all he had learned: trust observation, trust patience, trust the human mind. He stepped forward with precision, ignoring the visions and whispers. Halfway across, the arena shifted. Traps moved unpredictably. Panels rotated. Beams of energy cut through the air. Many cadets froze or fell, shouting in terror. Alex adjusted, stepping lightly, timing perfectly with the movements. His focus was absolute, his mind clear. He reached the pedestal where the orb floated. The energy surrounding it reacted to his presence. The trial voice boomed, "The choice is yours. Touch the orb, or turn away. Your answer will decide all." Alex hesitated for a brief moment. He thought about what he had learned from every challenge, the importance of calm, observation, and understanding. He realized the orb was testing more than courage or strength. It was testing insight, the ability to see beyond fear and obvious danger. He reached out. The moment his fingers touched the glowing surface, a vision flashed before his eyes. All the cadets who had failed, the traps, the illusions, the impossible odds. Then, the vision shifted. He saw a path opening for all cadets, a way to survive using knowledge, patience, and human ingenuity. He understood instantly. The obvious path was destruction. The impossible path, the one he had chosen, was the only way forward. The orb pulsed once, then sent a wave of energy through the chamber. Traps deactivated. The floor stabilized. The energy flowed around him, not attacking, but guiding. Alex stepped off the pedestal calmly. The alien cadets watched in disbelief. Some tried to follow, only to trigger traps that the orb had left active. Others froze, realizing that Alex had solved something they could not even understand. The judges were silent, observing the results. "No human should have survived that," one whispered. "Yet he has not only survived but solved the impossible choice." Alex continued walking, moving through the chamber with steady steps. The survivors looked at him in awe. Fear and respect mixed in their eyes. They realized that brute strength, speed, and powers could not match the human mind. Alex had not only chosen the correct path, but had understood the trial in a way no alien had imagined. The critical choice was over, yet its impact was clear. The academy, the judges, and the cadets would never see a human the same way again. The voice of the trial echoed once more. "You have chosen wisely. But the final test awaits. Only those who master mind, heart, and courage may survive." Alex's heart beat steadily, his mind focused. He had made the impossible choice, but he knew that the trial's true challenge was still ahead. Every step he had taken had tested him, yet he had emerged calm, precise, and unbroken. As he moved toward the next chamber, the alien cadets whispered among themselves, fear and awe mingling. The judges exchanged glances, recognizing that this human cadet was unlike any other. One judge said quietly, "He may change the future of the academy, and perhaps the galaxy itself." Alex's eyes were calm, yet inside he felt anticipation. The critical choice had tested not strength or speed, but insight, patience, and understanding. The impossible trial was far from over. Ahead lay challenges that would test every limit of mind, body, and spirit. But for the first time, the impossible seemed possible. One human cadet had survived where 99% had failed. And the arena, the academy, and every being watching now understood that everything could change depending on what Alex did next. Alex moved forward through the chamber, his steps steady, calm, and precise. The echoes of the critical choice still filled the arena, and the remaining cadets stared at him in awe and fear. The judges watched silently from above, their expressions a mixture of concern and amazement. "He continues to survive. He may surpass all expectations," whispered one judge. The chamber ahead was darker, colder, and filled with a faint humming sound that seemed alive. The walls were lined with strange symbols that pulsed in a rhythm Alex could not immediately understand. He knew this part of the trial would test more than observation or patience. It would test strategy, intuition, and perhaps something deeper than anything he had faced before. As he stepped cautiously forward, a sudden flash of light appeared in front of him. From it emerged a figure he had not expected, tall, elegant, and neither entirely human nor alien. Its eyes glowed softly, and it seemed to move with a grace that was almost unnatural. "Do not be afraid," said the figure, its voice calm yet commanding. "I am here to help you." Alex instinctively stepped back but did not run. His instincts told him this ally was not a threat. Who are you?" he asked quietly. The figure tilted its head slightly, eyes scanning the chamber. "I am a guide, an observer of the trial. Humans are rare here, and you have potential that the Academy does not understand. I can help you navigate the coming challenges, but you must listen and trust what you learn." Alex hesitated. The trial had tested his instincts and his mind. He had learned to trust observation and logic. But this was new. Yet something inside told him that accepting help might be the difference between success and failure. He nodded slowly. "I will listen," he said. The guide smiled faintly. "Good. The next trial will test not just your mind or body, but your ability to adapt and think beyond the obvious. Follow my instructions, and you may survive where others fail." With a wave of its hand, a hidden path opened in the walls of the chamber. Alex stepped forward carefully, feeling the energy of the space around him shift as the guide moved beside him. The next challenge appeared immediately, a series of platforms suspended above a glowing pit, each platform covered with complex symbols and energy patterns. "Each step must be precise," the guide said softly. "Observe the energy flow. Only then can you move safely." Alex studied the platforms. They shifted unpredictably, pulsing with light and energy. He noticed subtle changes in the glow, tiny vibrations in the surface, patterns in the way the light flickered. Step by step, he advanced, moving carefully, following the guide's instructions. The alien cadets who had survived the previous stages were now behind him, hesitant and unsure. They watched as Alex, guided by the mysterious figure, moved with precision and calm. One misstep by any of them would have triggered the traps. Several cadets tried to follow him, but the platforms shifted unexpectedly, knocking them off balance and sending them plummeting into the glowing pit below. Alex remained focused, observing and adapting. The guide's presence was subtle, pointing out patterns he might not notice at first, but never taking control. Alex realized that this ally was not doing the work for him. It was sharpening his perception, training him to see what others could not. "Good," the guide whispered. "Trust your instincts. Do not rush. The traps respond to fear and hesitation." Alex moved carefully, breathing steadily, his eyes fixed on each platform as it pulsed beneath his feet. He noticed that the energy patterns responded to rhythm. If he moved too quickly or too slowly, the platform would shift dangerously. By matching the rhythm, he could move safely. Slowly, he reached the end of the platforms. The next challenge appeared, a series of floating symbols in the air, glowing with an intensity that made it hard to look directly at them. The guide spoke again. "These symbols are not just obstacles. They are tests of perception and logic. Step in the correct sequence, or the traps will activate. Observe, calculate, and then act. Alex studied the symbols carefully. Many seemed identical, but he noticed subtle differences, slight flickers, small distortions, changes in pulse. Using these observations, he moved in perfect sequence, stepping from symbol to symbol without triggering the traps. Each step increased his confidence. The alien cadets were still behind, many too cautious or too reckless to attempt the sequence. When Alex reached the final symbol, the orb pulsed and floated upward, opening a new path deeper into the chamber. The guide looked at him, eyes glowing softly. "You have learned well," it said. "But the next trial will test more than observation or logic. It will challenge your courage, your humanity, and the very limits of your mind." Alex nodded, understanding that the impossible trial was far from over. With the guide beside him, he felt a strange sense of reassurance, but also knew that he could not rely solely on its help. He would have to continue to trust his instincts, his calm, and his human ingenuity. Ahead, the chamber twisted into darkness, shadows moving unpredictably. Energy pulses shifted, traps hidden in the walls and floor. The remaining cadets watched from behind, fearful and uncertain. Alex moved forward steadily, feeling the weight of the trial and the presence of the mysterious ally guiding him. The impossible trial was growing harder, stranger, and more dangerous. Yet Alex had never felt more prepared. He had an ally, a mentor of sorts, but the true challenge, one that would test mind, body, and heart, awaited in the chambers ahead. The judges, observing silently, exchanged glances, aware that the trial had entered a new stage. "This human cadet," one whispered, "may be unlike any who have ever faced the impossible trial. The future of this academy may depend on him." Alex stepped into the darkness, the guide's presence beside him, ready to face the next layer of challenges. He was calm, prepared, and curious, and he knew that the impossible trial still had secrets to reveal. Secrets that would push him to the very edge of what it meant to be human. Alex stepped into the next chamber, feeling the weight of the trial heavier than ever. The shadows seemed to stretch longer, and the air was filled with an eerie hum that vibrated through the walls and floor. The remaining alien cadets watched nervously from behind, many too afraid to follow. The judges observed silently from above, their faces tense. "He moves differently," one whispered. "Unlike any cadet we have trained. His calm, his patience. It is dangerous." The chamber itself seemed alive, a living maze of shifting platforms, moving walls, and glowing energy fields. At the center, a large control panel floated above a pit of glowing acid. The voice of the trial boomed, "The human edge is tested now. Only those who can combine mind, intuition, and courage may survive." Most cadets froze. The challenge was designed to punish hesitation and uncertainty. Panels shifted violently, energy beams shot unpredictably, and walls moved to crush or block any misstep. Aliens relied on speed, strength, and telepathy to anticipate the traps, but the chamber was too chaotic for even the most advanced minds. Alex paused. He observed everything: the rhythm of the panels, the flicker of the energy fields, the patterns in the wall's movements. He did not rush. He did not panic. Every step he took was calculated, precise, and careful. Step by step, he advanced, his calm presence contrasting with the panic of others. The alien cadets stared in disbelief. "How is he surviving?" whispered one. "He is human," said another, shaking with fear. Alex reached the first floating control panel. Symbols glowed and shifted, threatening to trigger traps with a single wrong touch. He studied the sequence, noticing subtle differences in the color, timing, and energy pulse. Using simple logic and observation, he pressed the symbols in the correct order. The panel accepted his input, and the platform beneath him stabilized. Another trap attempted to strike him, but Alex moved instinctively, timing his movements with the rhythm of the chamber. The judges exchanged worried glances. "No human should survive this stage," one whispered. "Yet he continues, and he learns with each challenge." The next section was even more dangerous. Platforms hovered above a pit filled with swirling energy. Some rotated unpredictably, Some disappeared when weight was applied. Alien cadets attempted to jump and fail repeatedly. Alex studied the patterns carefully. He noticed that the platforms responded to movement, rhythm, and timing. By observing closely and matching his steps to the subtle pulses, he moved across without falling. His calmness seemed to confuse the traps themselves, making them less aggressive. The chamber pulsed violently, reacting to every misstep of others, but Alex remained steady. At the far side, a series of floating barriers blocked the next platform. Each barrier was a test of reflexes and intuition. Lasers shot from the walls randomly, and mechanical arms swung unpredictably. Cadets panicked, some struck and thrown into the pits, others frozen in fear. Alex, however, approached slowly. He watched the timing, predicted the motion, and moved with perfect rhythm. Every step was human, precise, and clever. He crossed without injury. The remaining cadets watched in awe. Fear and admiration mixed in their eyes. Alex realized that his human mind, unlike the alien cadets, could adapt, improvise, and notice patterns others could not. His edge was not strength or speed, but calm observation, intuition, and clever use of limited information. At the center of the chamber, a massive puzzle awaited. Floating symbols formed a cube, each side glowing with energy. The cube reacted to movement, sound, and intention. Alien cadets attempted brute force, energy beams, and telepathic influence, but failed instantly. Alex studied the cube carefully. He noticed subtle shifts, tiny discrepancies, and slight delays in the patterns. With patience, he pressed the correct sequence, aligning rhythm, focus, and intuition. The cube shifted, opening a path forward. A low hum echoed through the chamber, as if the arena acknowledged his success. The judges stared in disbelief. "A human," one whispered, "not only survives but masters challenges we thought impossible." Alex did not pause. He advanced toward the final section of the chamber, where the floor shifted violently and traps activated randomly. The remaining alien cadets struggled desperately. Some tried to follow, only to trigger alarms and traps. Alex stepped carefully, timing each movement perfectly, his calmness allowing him to avoid danger instinctively. He realized that the human edge was simple yet powerful. Patience, observation, intuition, and courage combined to surpass even the most powerful alien abilities. The final platform of the chamber hovered above a swirling pit of glowing energy. A puzzle appeared before him, one that would decide if he could leave this section alive. Symbols floated in the air, glowing brightly, shifting in a pattern that seemed impossible to follow. The alien cadets panicked. Most failed instantly. Alex, however, observed carefully, noting rhythm, timing, and subtle differences. He stepped lightly, touched the symbols in the correct sequence, and the platform stabilized. A door opened ahead, revealing the next chamber. He had survived the human edge trial, where 99% of others would have failed instantly. The judges and cadets were silent, shocked, and terrified. Alex's calm, clever, and human approach had allowed him to succeed where strength, speed, and power had failed. He moved forward steadily, eyes focused, mind clear, knowing the final trials awaited. The arena seemed to acknowledge his presence, walls glowing faintly as if respecting his skill. The human edge had revealed itself, not in brute force, but in thought, patience, and ingenuity. As Alex stepped into the next chamber, the remaining cadets whispered among themselves. Fear, awe, and respect mixed in their voices. The judges exchanged glances, realizing that this human cadet had changed the rules of the impossible trial. One whispered, "He is unlike any cadet before. The academy may never be the same." Alex felt calm yet alert. The impossible trial was nearing its ultimate test. Ahead lay the final challenge, one that would test mind, heart, and courage together. But he had survived the human edge, and one truth was clear. Nothing could underestimate the power of human ingenuity. The final chamber of the impossible trial stretched endlessly before Alex, walls glowing with shifting energy patterns that seemed alive. The floor beneath him hummed with power, and the air was thick with tension. The alien cadets who had survived earlier stages stood behind him, exhausted, fearful and awestruck. The judges observed silently from above, their eyes wide and unblinking. "This human, he has made it to the final stage," one whispered. "No one thought it possible. What will he do now?" Alex took a deep breath. He knew the challenge here would test everything: mind, body, intuition, and the very essence of what it meant to be human. The chamber pulsed with energy, and at its center floated a massive orb, swirling with colors that shifted in impossible patterns. A voice echoed, deep and resonant, "Only one answer can end the trial. Choose incorrectly, and failure is instant. Choose wisely, and the impossible becomes possible." The alien cadets panicked. Some rushed forward, attacking the orb with energy blasts, brute strength, and telepathy, desperate to solve it by force. Many failed instantly, their attacks triggering traps and alarms. The floor shook, platforms shifted, and some cadets were thrown into pits of swirling energy. Alex remained calm. He studied the orb carefully, noticing subtle patterns in the swirl of colors, the rhythm of its energy, and the faint hum that seemed to communicate something. Unlike the aliens, who tried power and speed, Alex relied on observation, patience, and thought. Step by step, he approached the orb. The energy pulses shifted in response to his movements. Holographic images appeared around him, showing visions of failure, impossibility, and death. Some were illusions of the cadets who had fallen, their eyes wide with panic. Others were visions of traps that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Most cadets would have been frozen with fear. Alex breathed slowly, steadying his mind. He understood that the chamber responded to fear and panic, but clarity and calm could reveal the correct solution. He focused on simple truths: the patterns in the orb, the subtle movements, and the rhythm of the energy around him. Slowly, he realized that the solution was not to attack, manipulate, or force anything. The answer required understanding, insight, and a human perspective. He stepped closer, ignoring the illusions and distractions. The alien cadets watched helplessly, unable to grasp what he was doing. The judges exchanged tense glances. "He may actually solve it," one whispered. "But how?" Alex reached out with his hand. As his fingers touched the orb, a wave of energy pulsed through the chamber, and the illusions vanished. In his mind, a vision of the entire trial unfolded: the impossible trial, the maze of the mind, the critical choice, the human edge, and Alex understood the pattern behind it all. He saw that the 99% who failed had relied on instinct, strength, and speed alone. They had been trapped by their own expectations, by fear, and by underestimating what a human mind could do. Alex realized that the answer was simple yet profound: observation, patience, empathy, and creativity combined to solve what no force or speed could. He aligned his thoughts, focused his perception, and gave the final answer: not a forceful action, but a choice that integrated mind, intuition, and understanding. The orb pulsed brightly, then slowly lifted, revealing a clear path forward. The judges gasped. "No human could have solved it this way," one said. "Yet he has." The alien cadets stared, some in awe, some in disbelief. The floor stabilized, traps deactivated, and the chamber transformed. Where once chaos and danger had dominated, now a calm light bathed the room, signaling completion. Alex stepped forward, calm but triumphant. He had done what 99% of cadets could not even imagine. The impossible trial had been completed not with brute force or alien powers, but with human ingenuity, patience, observation, and courage. The judges looked at each other, silent, realizing that the trial itself had been changed by this human cadet. "He has redefined the impossible trial," whispered one judge. "The academy, everything must change." The surviving alien cadets approached hesitantly, respect and fear evident in their expressions. Alex had proven that humans were not weak, not fragile, and not inferior. His mind, calmness, and courage had turned the impossible into reality. Outside the chamber, the academy itself seemed to react, lights brightening, energy stabilizing, as if recognizing a new era had begun. Alex stood at the center of the chamber, breathing calmly, aware that he had not only completed the trial but also changed the perception of every being present. The voice of the trial echoed one final time. The impossible is now possible. One human has achieved what 99% could not. Let this mark the beginning of a new understanding. Alex looked around at the alien cadets, the judges, and the chamber itself. He smiled faintly. He had faced fear, chaos, and impossibility, yet calm observation, patience, and ingenuity had carried him through. The impossible trial was over, but the impact of his actions would be felt forever. The Academy, the cadets, and perhaps the galaxy itself had learned a valuable truth. Humans, underestimated and overlooked, could change the course of events with clarity, courage, and thought. As Alex walked toward the exit, the remaining cadets whispered among themselves, awe and fear mingling in their voices. The judges followed silently, understanding that one human had not only survived the trial but also rewritten what it meant to be capable. The impossible trial had ended, and with it, a new chapter had begun. Alex had given the answer that changed everything, proving that 99% could fail instantly, but one human mind, calm and clever, could succeed where all others had failed.